in the last couple of weeks we've been leading up to this, I had reached out because I had an employee in our office where, again, we have a really established process on the front end. And I feel that we do a really good job from a training perspective when we use DISC assessments as tools in our office. And I really feel like if an employee isn't successful within that initial probationary period, that there's a couple ways to assess fit and whether the person's committed, whether they're competent, is it culture? And we've got our core values, we've got our vivid vision. And I couldn't figure out where that disconnect was from. And so you and I were talking, and I gave you a brief scenario and gave you a little snapshot of her DISC. And I've been doing DISC for 15 years. And you identified in a few seconds, again, she was a high D and a high S, and you immediately were like, that's a bit of an anomaly. Those are opposing characteristics. Pardon?
It's a push-pull.
It's a push-pull.
And
you gave me some coaching and guidance. And I, for sure, even though I've been doing this for a long time, I'm by far not an expert and had blind spots myself, and ultimately went back and gave some coaching and guidance and gave feedback from our discussion and said, hey, I actually spoke with someone and brought you up as an example. And, this is the feedback that I got. And within a month saw a drastic improvement in her ability to do her job, because one, I connected with her in the right way, gave her the right, coaching and feedback and direction that she needed. Ultimately, what you also helped me see through that is that the person just wasn't a fit for our business. She hit the skill piece and ultimately was doing the things we needed. But even after that was done, we realized that wasn't the case. And up to that point, I really felt that I didn't have enough information. And had I not connected with you, I would have either made a decision earlier, but with maybe not for the right reasons, or wouldn't have made the decision and ended up running into the same problems later in the path.
And I was about to help, but that's what I do. It's about making a difference. And that's really part of all of this stuff. If you think about it, when you hire somebody and they think they've got the job and it's not working, they've come to work one day and you're sending them home. So you've affected their life.
100%.
I mean, it's kind of, it's serious business. I mean, yes, we joke about it, and I love doing this, but it's also about making a difference. Let's put the right person for your business in the right place. You deserve, as an owner, a return on that investment, and they deserve the chance to show off their talents.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? Well, profiling draws a line and affirms that you've made a better hire. And it's something you said before. And sometimes life gets in the way and changes it. So it's not the profile, it's not the resume, it's things. And yeah, sometimes people leave. And the other thing is sometimes it's time for people to leave.
Right.
You've got to call it a day. But all of this, again, we go back to your pillars, my 3 R's. I guess what I'm trying to say, take a moment. It's worth it.
Yeah.
And right now, as we come out of, the pandemic, so I'm finding people are making a lot of mistakes. They're so desperate to fill a spot that they're kind of sometimes pretzeling themselves to make it fit.
Right.
You might have encountered that. And take a look at your business. You've got to make different decisions based on different information because we live in a different time.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the exercises I was helping people do during the worst of the pandemic is step back and look at the people that you've got working for you. Ask yourself, do you remember why I hired? Just ask yourself that. And if the answer is I don't know, then why are they there?
Yeah.
Or what was did you say, what was the process? Because it's different now. So again, profiling just helps you. And actually we talked about disconnects and all that stuff. But the plus is, I like to call it the disconnect. Yes.
Yeah.
Connect. You can turn a negative into a positive. So if you want, we can have a look at your profile.
Yeah. Well, it was just, you touched on something that I think is really valuable to discuss, because we talked about how it can negatively affect your money, but also how it can positively affect it. I mean, the biggest thing I've been talking about in the last little while is how I truly feel there's been a pendulum swing. I've seen a ton of information come out recently about how, years ago, like we're talking 20, 30, 40 years ago, it was you show up to work, you follow the chain of command, post, World War II, you didn't ruffle feathers, you showed up, you went home, you lived your life, and you were able to live a good life in doing so. And then there was like the free trade market where China was able to come in and lower the cost of goods across the board. And that made things from an employee standpoint even harder, where pay rates weren't increasing with inflation. And now you hear all the time talking about inflation, talking about a recession coming, all these different things. Well, COVID was the linchpin piece that started to swing that pendulum really back in the employee's favor. The work from home capabilities, the remote flexibility. I mean, even before that, obviously employers were doing whatever they needed to do to attract top talent. And I really think that's where additional disconnect can come from, is where when you have these top performers, there are other companies vying for them. There are, huge contributions that these people can make. And if you don't invest in tools like these to make sure you're effectively communicating with them, we're obviously talking about the bad case scenario of hiring a bad person, or, not realizing someone's not a fit. But even worse, if you have absolute linchpin critical people in your office and they don't communicate, or you aren't communicating effectively with them, they're not seeing the perceived value or whatever it may be. And you could lose these absolute A players that are critical for the business. And it's such a critical thing to just be aware of, that it's not just about protecting yourself from making mistakes, but it's about that other piece that you can do to make sure that as an employer, you're investing in your team and making sure that they understand as well. Because a lot of what you do isn't just, hey, owner, here's the discs, here's how you can get the best out of your people. It's, hey, everybody, this is how as a collective you guys fall together. These are your strengths, these are your weaknesses. This is how, as you guys collaborate together, how you can be this amazing machine.